She was involved in the prosecution of the Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh. She was our state's assistant U.S. attorney, and she has more than 25 years of experience. Now Vicki Bahena is leading the Oklahoma Innocence Project, working to fight Oklahoma's record of wrongful convictions. Vicki joins us live this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's an important cause, and we're interested in it, frankly, because it's made headlines recently. Vicki, just tell us, for those who aren't familiar, what is the Innocence Project? What do you do?
Well, the Innocence Project at OCU School of Law is connected with the network. The original Innocence Project began in New York City by Barry Scheck. And its purpose, its mission, is to right wrongful convictions.
And we know that Oklahoma ranks in the top 10 in the nation for known wrongful convictions. Why is this?
Well, I think anytime you have human beings involved in a process, mistakes are going to happen. And so wrongful convictions can result from bad investigations, maybe sloppy investigations, mistakes by prosecutors, mistakes by eyewitnesses. So as I said, anytime humans are involved, mistakes can happen.
And you've seen the human side of this personally. Your son, Michael Bahena, was convicted of unpremeditated murder of an Iraqi during combat, and you fiercely defended him and fought for his freedom for about 5 years. He was freed in 2014. Why then turn your sights to the Innocence Project?
Because I realize how invisible convicted individuals are. I think people believe once you've had a jury trial and a jury's heard the evidence and you received a conviction, then the case is over. But it's not over. For many people, like the two that were recently exonerated, Malcolm Scott and DeMarco Carpenter, I mean, they were voiceless for 22 years until finally the Innocence Project heard their voice and advocated for them.
Let's get straight to those cases because we have recently reported on them. DeMarco Carpenter and Malcolm Scott were recently released from prison after being incarcerated for 20 or more years. Let's hear their reaction to being released from prison.
We here, baby! I love you!
So clearly a display of emotion there from the men that were released after 2 decades in prison and going back to see where they had spent all of that time. What made you believe these 2 men?
Well, you know, I took over the Innocence Project in October of last year, and the dean of the law school, Dean Couch, asked me to review the case because they had already filed a petition in the Tulsa County Court. And her belief, of course, is that these men were innocent. Having come from a prosecution background, I was a bit skeptical. Then I read the trial transcript. That was the first thing I read, and it sickened me, for lack of a better word. And then I started reading the investigative reports, and it was clear to me that a terrible, terrible mistake had happened in the trial of these 2 young men.
We were talking before we got on camera about the fact that one of these men was just 17 when he ended up behind bars. How are they adjusting to life outside of the prison walls?
Well, I mean, the world's changed in 22 years. There are smartphones and iPads and smart TVs, and so they're learning what the world's like now and trying to fit in. I mean, it's been difficult for them even to get driver's licenses. They've never had a driver's license before. So they're adjusting well. I think they're enjoying their freedom first, and then they're trying to integrate back in.
Trying to re-immerse into society.
Yes.
So what drives you when it comes to turning from a prosecutor who was putting people in prison and now trying to get those convicted out of prison? How does that create a conflict for you?
It doesn't. I mean, I don't think any prosecutor that you speak to and anywhere in this country is going to say that they feel justice is served if the wrong person is convicted of a crime. It serves no purpose. In the case of Malcolm Scott and DeMarco Carpenter, the real perpetrator of the crime committed another heinous murder 3 months after this. So as a prosecutor, I want to see the right people in prison, the wrong people out of prison. As I said, it serves no purpose. So that was my motivation. It's just for justice.
One of the most fascinating parts of this exoneration of these 2 men was the fact that that man who had committed the second murder actually said on his deathbed that these 2 men were innocent. So truly fascinating. How many appeals for your help have you received at the Innocence Project, and what meets the criteria?
Yeah, there have been, the Innocence Project opened in August of 2011. There have been 1,200 requests for assistance. The criteria is that it has to have a long sentence. The person requesting assistance have to have a long sentence because it takes 4 to 7 years to investigate these cases. So somebody that has a sentence of 10 to 15 years, we might not be able to get to by the time you do all the investigation. So we look for long sentences. We look for sentences. We're not solely a DNA clinic, so even if there's not DNA, we can still look at the case. We look to see if we can find the evidence. We look to see if we can find witnesses. If we can't, of course, those cases have to be closed because there's no evidence, new evidence to present to the court.
And you say we, and we know included in that we, it's kind of a unique situation. You have OCU law students who are really helping in the fight to exonerate some of these convicted inmates, I guess you should say. Talk about their role for me, if you would, and the role of these students. How are they learning from this, and how are they contributing to this process?
What's unique about the Innocence Project at OCU is it is affiliated with the law school. And the purpose of that was to have the project act as a clinical experience for students. And students are intimately involved in the investigation of the case. When we had our evidentiary hearing in January for Malcolm and DeMarco, we had law students from OCU there working with us, talking about how we're going to get evidence in, what witnesses to present. So they are intimately involved going out and interviewing witnesses on the investigative end, filing the petition in court, and then going to court with us when we have hearings.
Real meaningful experience there. A lot of families watching this want to know if they have loved ones who are incarcerated. What should they do? What's the first step in the process of appealing to the Innocence Project?
They can call the Innocence Clinic. Joyce Mayer is a legal assistant there. She'll take their request. Normally what we do, even if a family member calls, we need to get a request from the individual who has been wrongfully convicted. Once we receive that request, we give them a questionnaire, have them fill out, and then we begin investigating the case.